Good day, everyone. I hope all is well. We're back this week with our incarcerated loved ones and the philosophy for our incarcerated loved ones. I'm just gonna skip straight into it because this week it's been quite challenging for me dealing with my connections that are incarcerated. They find themselves in these situations that I, being on the outside in the free world, feel as if they can avoid, but I know that their mind is different while they're in there, and they're feeling like there's a whole egotistical component that arises while they're in there, and I truly do agree. I do agree. So this week, I'll be touching on maximizing on the recognition of your triggers and understanding the stresses that ignited those triggers in the first place. Last week we spoke about recollection, and within the recollection process, for as long as you're conducting the recollection process correctly and sufficiently, you'll begin to recognize those triggers, and you'll begin to contemplate the actions that were made in the time that that trigger was set forth. And in doing so, you'll be able to step back, and if you're as flexible, this is for the ideal. If you are the ideal flexible person and after being worked on and working on yourself for a certain amount of time, then you'll essentially begin to realize, like, yourself and your actions and those triggers that actually ignite you or ignite certain parts of you or stop you from thinking, because that's what happens when we take action, an abrupt negative action. In order for that abrupt negative action to occur, we stop thinking. So we don't think at all. We literally act off of instinct. And that is part of the animalistic jail mentality that drives our incarcerated loved ones during their incarceration. So the story for today is, one of my contacts that are incarcerated. There was a situation that occurred, and the situation was it was minuscule, or at least in my mind, it was minuscule. You know, uh, in the facility that he's in, he has to sign up for the phone. He has to go sign-in sheet or whatever for a certain amount of time that he wants to use the phone. So he signed up for the phone. He went back to his cell. He fell asleep, overslept, and oversleeping, he would have had to re-sign up for the phone. But by that time, that sign-in sheet was full, maybe like 6 or 7 people in front of him. Now, each phone call is 15 minutes, so he probably would have been made in almost an hour, a little bit more, like an hour and a half. Who knows? Because when I was in there, I was sneaking phone calls. So that person could have took a 15-minute phone call, hung it up a little early, and called for another 15-minute phone call just about meeting 30 minutes. That's neither here nor there. Regardless, he would have had to wait. So, based on the location of his cell, which was on the top tier of the block, he went down and sat in the rec area. So when he sat in the rec area, he was sitting closer to the phone booth, so that he could smooth his way and get on the phone. Well, luckily he knew someone who was using the phone at the time, so he just whispered in his ear, whatever, let him know, that he wanted to use the phone. So when he was done, just call him, hook him up with the phone. He didn't realize that there was somebody on the bottom tier whose cell was closer to the phone, who was also waiting for the phone. That guy stayed in the cell the entire time. So because he was sitting in the rec area, he was a little bit closer. He's watching it. He's clocking the phone. So when that guy was done, he gestured for him to come over. He went over to the phone, starts calling his girl. Right? So in doing so, in the process of him dialing out his numbers, homeboy comes up behind him. He's like, yo, I was waiting for the phone. He's like, yeah, alright, but I'm on the phone. So a few words go back and forth. Somebody mumbles, whatever, whatever. The guy behind him was like, yo, if you know what's good for you, you're not going to dial that number. Well, if my followers are who my followers are, you already know that that's a trigger, because that would have been a trigger to me. What? Who you? Is that a threat? You understand what I'm saying? So I totally understand that trigger while you're incarcerated, and when somebody makes a threat like they could overpower you, really? Because even in the free world, somebody makes a threat like that, you're like, wait, hold up, who you understand what I'm saying? Like, who you trying to? I can't really speak the way I want to, because I'm not trying to get I guess flagged is a better word. So um that's neither here nor there. Anyways, he says that the kid doesn't even get through to dialing the number, because he turns around, hangs up the phone, and now they're face to face. They're face to face. Everybody in the right area is standing up now because they hear the commotion coming about. And as a man, like, when you in there, you feel like your hormones are huge. A man's hormones they're very strong regardless, but imagine that negativity that's coming off you. Like, what? So your shoulders start getting broad, you know what I mean? And you start chest puckered up, like, what? So now they're going back and forth, like, so what you gonna do? Now, in that moment, the both of them could have settled it then. But now you have y'all two, and then you have everyone else who's watching you. So the person who was on the phone, he can't afford to make himself look like a punk, right? And the person who said something, he definitely can't afford to make himself look like a punk, because he said something like, bro, you started it. So they get closer, words get thrown, CO walks in, they gotta disperse. Homeboy from the cell on the lower tier, he's like, yo, alright, come to my cell. Well, for those who don't know what come to my cell is, it's like somebody telling you in the free world, like, come to my block, come see me. You understand what I'm saying? So he was smart. When he's telling me the story, I asked him, like, yo, did you go straight there? Did you go do what you had to do? So he said he did what he had to do first. Meaning, he went up to his cell, got himself prepared, and then he went back to the guy's cell. Well, that was a silly decision, too, because, yes, if I was in that situation, I probably would have. I have to be honest. Because, like, you not gonna one-up me. You're just not. Like, at least that's how I felt, and that's what I'm growing from. So I can totally understand someone else going through it and it being very hard for you, because you're not pulled up out of it. You're immersed in it. When you're incarcerated, you're immersed in that mentality, those animalistic ways, those instinctual ways. You're immersed in it. So I totally get it. So he's telling me the story. He's like, yeah, I went back down. It's called I don't know. Depending on the facility, they call it different things, like maybe a whack, a shank. Regardless, it's whatever they make as their weapon to protect themselves. Most cases, I'd probably refer to it as a blicky, but it's whatever they make. They can use whatever to make it, like the forks or spokes that they get in there. They can use that. Say they come up with a writing utensil, they could use that. Maybe they see a wire. Like, there's little things that you just use to protect yourself based on the resources that you have or that you find yourself with. So yeah, but so he goes to the guy's cell, and the guy tells him, he's like, yo, son, it's not even that serious. Just leave it, right? So you'd want to say, a regular person would want to say, okay, well, alright, then it's done for. You know, you like, what? Alright, copy. But not in jail, because in jail, they're sneaky. So no, we're not going to fight right now. We have my cell, it's going to make it hot. So I'm going to tell this dude, nah, chill, whatever, whatever, and I'm going to catch him off guard. You feel me? And that's what happens. So now when that is done, because they know that that's what happens, when someone tries to quickly, easily dissolve the situation without an explanation, it's sus. So now the next person who has to fall back, he's steady looking over his shoulder, which triggers something else from his personality towards the incarcerated loved ones and family members on the outside, because now he's looking over his shoulder. For example, say he's on the phone and he's trying to talk to his girl, right? So he's on the phone, he's trying to talk to his girl. His girl's talking to him, having a conversation with him and everything, and he's just looking over his shoulder. She doesn't know what's going on because he didn't tell her that. But she knows that he's not paying attention to her. She knows that he's on the phone, his ear is to the phone, but he's not there. Because that's his girl. That's her man. So she knows, she understands. They talk every day, they communicate, and they doing whatever. And so that's one stressor that he kept inside of himself. And because he kept that inside of himself, and he kept his worries inside of himself, it's flowing through his pores towards everyone else. It's flowing into the energies that he's giving off. So now the arguments start occurring, you know, and what would have been a regular argument with his girl turned into him calling her names and yada yada yada, all this stuff. So now they're on the brinks of not speaking, right? Currently they ain't speaking. Maybe she don't speak to him for the next 2 days or 3 days or whatever the case may be. But she doesn't know. She didn't know because he's not going to tell her. You know, to end off the story, nothing happened as of thus far, right? As of I'm sitting in front of you right now. So nothing has happened, or at least that I have heard of. However, he's still stuck in that looking over his shoulder because of the way that situation ended. But I just want you to step back and think about all of the triggers that I could have possibly stated during the duration of me explaining that quick short story to you, and all of the times that these situations or smaller situations could have been avoided. And then when you think of the bigger situation, you're like, damn, that one little altercation or disagreement with someone else in there caused you stress. It caused you a greater amount of stress than the stress that you already had for being incarcerated. So now that's two. That's the stress of incarceration. That's the stress of, sorry, that may be more. The stress of like looking over your shoulder off rip. Because while you in there, you just got to watch yourself regardless. Ain't nobody else watching you. Nobody gives a shit about you. We ain't friends, nigga. We just doing this because we got to do it. But then now you have this stress of looking over your shoulder because you just got into this altercation. You got the stress of proving yourself. Now you can't afford for nobody to think you pussy, so you always got to check this nigga. You got to check everybody now. You feel me? Because nothing came about, so nobody was able to see your worth, or see your might, or your strength, or whatever you refer to it as. And then the communication with your family members. Now that caused you an extra stress. It caused you an extra stress because of that trigger. Because of that one little trigger that you just could not control at that point in time. It just created this entire negative tree. Something that would not have been deeply rooted. It started right on top. It started right on top of the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, But because you stayed there, you didn't try to divert, you didn't try to avoid that little seed that started on top of the dirt. It sat, and then it drifted lower as the dirt flew over and as it rained. Um, and as it got lower, it became more deeply rooted. And when something is deeply rooted, it will grow because the roots, the deeper they get, the stronger they get. So now they're growing. So now that one little trigger spiraled into a few different aspects of your life, which essentially brings me back to recognizing those triggers, analyzing those triggers, trying to refrain from allowing yourself or anyone else to trigger you in a negative manner. See, the trick is to be so secure within yourself that no one is allowed to ignite you. You don't give anyone that power. And oftentimes we do. Like, just being our incarcerated loved ones are not the only ones that go through it. We go through it every day. Being on the free world, in the free world, we go through it every day. You know, we allow people to annoy us. We allow people to get under our skin. Getting under your skin? What? You should never get under my skin. That's the protectant to my body. That's the whole epidermal layer. You should never be able to get to my dermis. Or subdermal, or deeper, subcutaneous. Yeah, I know I'm going in, but regardless, like, you should never be able to get deeper within. It should only be surface. Enough surface to wipe it off. That's it. Smooth it off. So, the deeper question here is how? How do you allow these triggers to manifest? Where does it come from? Where do the uh, where does the ignition of the trigger really come from? What is deeply manifested in you that makes you feel like that is a trigger for you? That is a very good question. I want y'all to answer that. I want y'all to think about that. Is it something based on your childhood, how you were brought up, the adults that were around you, what you saw based on their actions, their responses, their moves? Where did it come from? Did someone do something to you when you were younger that you made a pact that you would never allow that to happen again? Did it just happen a few weeks ago? Something crazy happened to you a few weeks ago. You walked out of there feeling bare and weak and all open, and you made a pact that you would never allow that to affect you again, so you would respond in such a manner. If that's the case, then we need to take a few steps back, and we need to recollect some more, because not all the time are we supposed to walk with those experiences in a manner in which we feel like they are the cause for our responses. They're really only supposed to allow us foresight. We're supposed to, in life, your experiences are supposed to provide you with a foresight. You're supposed to learn to foresee certain triggers and foresee certain stresses and certain futuristic views based on the experiences that you've gone through. So, for example, had my contact that's incarcerated said, "Yo, I'm on the phone. I understand you ain't in for the phone. I just need 5 minutes. I'm gonna make this phone call real quick, and I'm gonna give you the phone." Or had he said, "Yo, you know what? You take the phone. You can have the phone. I'm gonna be the bigger person. Ain't no need to fight over it. Take the phone. I'm gonna just wait for you when you're done." Like, there's nothing punk about that. He could have said it in more of a manly manner. I'm a female. But he could have even said it in more of a manly manner, to the point where his ego showed but it wasn't protrusive. You understand what I'm saying? So he still wouldn't have looked like he was a punk. And in doing so, he would have avoided that entire situation. What we need to do is we need to recognize that this life is not about proving yourself to other people, because they bleed just like you bleed. Them veins run the same way your veins run. So there's no point in trying to one up someone. Sometimes you have to step back and let them feel like they are one upping you. Because when you step back, you're able to see a broader view. You can see that this person doesn't know. This person is lacking knowledge. He's stubborn. He has these little ways about him, these characteristics that you fixed within yourself because you were able to step back. When you're arguing with someone, it's kind of the same thing. Arguing. You loud, I'm loud, you loud, I'm loud, I'm not listening to you. The trick to that is lower your voice so that they have to shut up to listen to you. I'm not going to be sitting here arguing with you, increasing my voice. Bro, I get paid to speak. I get paid to write. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to waste my energies. So if you want to hear what I have to say, you're going to shut up. Easy. Simple. So back to the question, we really need to step back and recognize and analyze and accept these the manifested stressors. Think about where they came from and why you are the way you are and why you respond to certain things the way you do. Was there ever a time in your life where you felt like someone stepped on you, you was being bullied, or so on and so forth, and you felt like, yo, I'm never gonna let that happen to me again? I'm an adult. You don't have to let it happen to you again, but you don't have to respond with such negativity to the point where you become an extremist. Remember the spectrum that we spoke about last week? We don't want to be an extremist. We also don't want to be as low as whimpery either. We just want to glide. We want to stay midline, above or beyond the horizon, just right there. We never want to sink too deep. We never want to go too far. We just kind of want to rise above, and it'll be it'll be stagnant, right? But it won't be straight, because life is not straight, but it'll be stagnant. So the pattern, it'll create a pattern, and that's what creates the cyclical view. You know what I mean? Like it keeps it going because you're steady growing and you're steady stepping back and moving forth and stepping back and moving forth based on how the situation arises and presents itself. And that's the goal. That's the goal of realizing your triggers and recognizing your stressors. And you want to maintain, once you grasp, right? Because we're working in this recollection process. So once you grasp that sense of self, that immediate sense of that, it's not immediate, it's a gradual. But once you grasp that and you begin to understand yourself as far as what ignites you and the stresses that you have, essentially further on down the line you'll be able to decrease those stressors, and you'll be able to change what ignites you. And it won't no longer be words. It'll be more of actions, Remember, they're incarcerated loved ones. What you do during your incarceration does not only affect you, it affects everyone that you communicate with. It affects your capabilities of communication. Dear incarcerated family members, friends, and others, it is hard. It will be hard. But you just have to step back and take your time. You have to step back and just have patience. Like, this is your family member. This is the person you love. They're not going nowhere. And where are you in a rush to? unless you got thousands of dollars, this person is probably, you probably not bailing them out. So you might as well just step back and try to speak to them, try to open up. Because remember, being incarcerated literally encloses your incarcerated loved one. They go like this because they can't speak to nobody. Sensitivity? What? What's that? I'm not pussy. So it's all about just, it's all about staying above the horizon, beyond the horizon, on the border. It's about maintaining a secure sense of self. Um, it's about maintaining a secure sense of self and holding it down. Just gotta hold it down. Hold down yourself. There's no reason why you should feel like you are invincible, because we all bleed, and once that oxygen hits, once the blood hits the oxygen, it's red, bro. It's red for everybody. Take it how you want it. Um, so try your best to just recognize, and family members as well. Like, try to recognize your own stresses, because like, in this situation, if this young man's girlfriend was going through something in that day, her work day was not good, or things weren't working out the way she wanted, and whatever, meetings were running late, or whatever her life was about, she probably didn't have the best response either. So he's cursing at her, she cursing at him. You know, calling him this, calling him that, telling him he ain't this, he ain't that. Well, now that phone hangs up, and they both, you go, get in your transportation, go home, and he walks up some steps to go sit in his cell. Y'all both sit down, take this deep breath, and shake your head. Now both of y'all got a headache. Because it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, because you didn't facilitate it properly, because you did not step back and understand yourself. Recognize what's going on with you. Not just be mindful. I don't mean just mind your own business. I mean recognize what is going on with you in every part and point within your day, within your life. Recognize what is affecting you right now, positive or negative. And if you act within a certain manner, or you act in such a way, will this affect someone else, positively or negatively? What are the consequences of your actions, of you not recognizing your triggers and your stresses? I want you to think about that. And this was just a little rant, but it's important. It's very important. I want everyone to grow. You are to grow. That is the point of life. The point of life is to grow. Not just grow assets, physical assets. Grow. The best thing that you have is your mind, because no one can see it. Zaina-Jade swing. No one can see your mind. That's your best asset. No one can feel it. No one can touch it. Unless you know it so well that you allow someone to feel it. So, just, I would like you to comment below. I would like y'all to email me. If anyone is watching here, I am also doing tributes. I know that there are many people that are losing their incarcerated loved ones, whether they're getting, unfortunately, whether they're getting killed during their incarceration, or whether they're dying based on medical issues. Please feel free to contact me. I would love to do a tribute on our website. I will need a documentation, a few forms of documentation of their actual story of why they're incarcerated, as real as it can be. As real as it can be. Y'all have been watching now for some time, so you know that I am a realist, be real with the situation, regardless of how real the situation is or if the person did it or not. I still want the truth. Um, they still deserve to be alive, whatever they did. It doesn't matter. That's what I believe. Nobody deserves the death penalty. So I would love that. I would love if they pass due to medical issues, please send me a detailed description of what the medical issues are. You know that I do have my own medical knowledge, kind of equipped with that. If they were died due to homicide, if they were killed due to homicide, I'm sorry, please send me some form of documentation about that, including your feelings. It should include your feelings, but it should also include the realistic, most original, official story. Contact me so that I can give you the mailing address. Go ahead and go on the website www.malaysiaboldthoughts.biz. A philosophy for incarceration. Check out our inspirational totes on the Instagram, Malaysia Bold Thoughts, at Malaysia Bold Thoughts. For those who may need taxes done, incarcerated loved ones can, yes, y'all can get y'all taxes done. I have a few clients. At me at Zaina-Jade Swain. If you can't find it, go ahead and go find it. In the bio of the Malaysia Bold Thoughts Instagram. So feel free to go check that out. Yes, this is gonna be good. Oh, for those of you who enjoy like rap, I listen to underground music. I listen to rap. That is hip hop, R&B. Yes, my heart is soca though. For those who don't know, my background is I'm Bajan. I'm Barbadian, and so I listen to a lot of dancehall, reggae, soca. But back to rap. This guy, YNW, if I have it correct, he's so young and they want to give him the death penalty. What do y'all feel about that? How do y'all feel? Yes, I know his music is like, I'm like, oh, I cry, I cringe when I listen to it. It's good though. He's good. He's good. Like, I can't believe he would have done that. But how do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about it? Do you feel like maybe he should just get a lengthy amount of time so that he could actually have time to think about his stresses, or to think about what he did and why, and those triggers and those stresses and any deficiencies within his mindset, you know, because we have developmental disabilities within our mind, our psyche. So do you think that he should just up and get the death penalty, or do you think that he should be given a lengthy amount of time? I really want to know what y'all think and how y'all feel about that. So please let me know. Comment below. Subscribe. Tell everybody to subscribe. If you see me in the street, say hello. I'm kind of small. Y'all may look above me, but that's okay. Say hello. I'm going to get out of here because I have to go to work soon. So I want everyone to have a good day. Please tune in next week. Please make sure you subscribe. Go check out my website. Send me any information. Please contact me to send me any information. I do want information about your incarcerated loved ones. I want to know your stories. I want to know your daily ways, your daily routine as to dealing with them. And if you have any advice, please let me know. Let me know, definitely. Enjoy your day. Tune in and make sure you read that inspirational tote of the week.